Okay, let's go. So let's discuss goals for the lesson of today. So our main goal is to successfully run the default Flutter Counter app. I will explain what is default Flutter Counter app later on, but the main idea is that to be sure that everything works for you, Android Studio, Flutter, emulator, and so on, so that you can successfully continue developing. Setups and understand how to use Slack, Jira, Confluence, Tempo, GitHub, and Android Studio. Learn how to do it and open first pull request on GitHub. Overview of how Flutter works, just a general one. We will be diving into more details throughout this course. And if time will be left, we will start learning Dart. If not, then this is left for the next lesson. So yeah, as I said, we will be adjusting to your pace, to how comfortable it feels for you and so on. So feel free to ask questions, to stop me, to give any feedback, because I want to make this course useful for all of you. This is the general lesson plan for the course. Again, depending on how fast or slow we will go, there might be minor changes, like in terms of how long one lesson will take, but the general idea is that we will have today introduction and setup, then we will spend one lesson learning Dart language. After that, we will move on to Flutter, learning basic widgets and how to work with Flutter. Then in general, what are mobile app components? We'll start moving on to more dynamic stuff such as navigation and stateful widgets. Then we will learn some computer science patterns that are used in modern development and specifically in Flutter. We will learn how to work with network, we'll learn how to manage state and app architecture, how to test all of it automatically. And we will also work with local storages. There are like a lot of options, a lot of things to consider when working with local storage. And finally, what you need to publish your app, for example, in the future is how to localize app, icons of the app, splash screens, titles, and so on. Okay, any questions about this? No? Okay. All right. No, this is not, we won't be installing right now. We will start with Jira. So Slack is okay for everyone. No questions there. All good. Okay, so while I wait for an answer for the project manager, I will show you what Jira is and why do we need it in the first place. There's mine. This is my board. This is how Jira looks in general. Jira is a software for managing projects. It is hated by many and used also by many. I mean, if you're in the industry, you might hear a lot of hate toward Jira, but still, nevertheless, we'll be using it because it's one of the most popular softwares for managing projects for big teams. It has a lot of plugins, add-ons, and so on. You can configure your workflows in Jira like in very many ways with a lot of features and so on. So that's why it's used. I find it's okay. In general, for most of the things, it's all right. Maybe some things, if you're used, for example, to use Notion or Trello or something else, might feel less comfortable. Some of them might feel more comfortable. Again, personal taste. So how generally projects are done. There are several phases on how to deliver a feature, a bug fix, or in general, a release of an application, for example, or a website, right? What we will be working is called Kanban. Kind of like, I don't want to be tied too much to terminology because it's one thing it's in books and the other thing's in practice. Practice has more details, more nuances, so it's just something to keep in mind. But in general, this is how your project overview looks like. You start with all of your tasks being in the backlog. It's called the backlog. Like in here, this is called to do. Okay, I can zoom in. Actually, it's called to do, but also if you hear me saying backlog, I also mean this column. So this is where all of the tasks that you need to do are stored. When you start working on a task, for example, let's say create my first Confluence page, we will return to it. But when you start working on it, you want to move it to like drag and drop to the progress. This is done so that everyone else working on the team, for example, project managers, sometimes clients, sometimes as like other developers and so on, see what is the current status of the development. So they know, okay, this task is in progress, so I don't need to work on it. I will take the other task. Project manager says, okay, I know that these issues are in progress, so sometime later, like this week or whenever, they will be ready for release. All right, so next, when you have finished this task, we have a column or a status called code review. Technically, code review is specifically for code, and we will have not only code-related tasks, but also other tasks. But in general, we will be returning to code review today in much more detail, what it means and how to work with it. But the general idea is that your work needs to be reviewed by your peers. This is a good practice in general. For example, in Chile, all of our projects, all of our issues, even if you are the only single developer on the project, then developers from other projects still peer review your code, because there's human factor, you can make errors, you can be less experienced, and then more experienced developer works on a different project. So this is a way to share feedback, to kind of keep up with the quality, with the standards, and so on. So all work is peer reviewed, and this is also one of the main ways how we learn and how we will learn during this course. Like, you will do a task, for example, a homework task. You will give it to me for code review, and I will give you feedback, and you will fix it, and so on. So it's also back and forth process until like we both agree that it's now it's in like perfect state and it can be moved to done. So we move it to done, and then we release the project and so on, like in real life. But there can be also a case when something happened. For example, you don't have design for this task, or backend is not ready, or any other issues, and you can't proceed with it. So you move it to blocked, and usually also write a comment why is it blocked and who can unblock it. So for example, I need backends to unblock this ticket by doing this and that. And this blocked column also gets regularly reviewed to see if anything has been unblocked, and if it has been unblocked, it is moved back to backlog, and then it can be picked up by the developer. There can be as many columns as you need for your project. In real life, in Chile, we also have two more. It is after code review. It doesn't get automatically moved to done. It gets moved to test, because we have also a manual QA process, both automatic and manual, but it always has to get approved by a specific quality assurance engineer. So it moves on to test. Then when to test is basically the to do, but just for the QA. To do is for developer, and to test is the backlog for QA. So they move on from to test to just testing. And if anything is wrong with it, depending on how wrong with it, for example, if it's a fundamental issue with the whole ticket, then the whole ticket gets moved back to backlog and developer has to fix it. But if it's in general okay, but there are some minor bugs, for example, I don't know, colors, like 10% different, something like that, then a new ticket is created, and that other one is moved to done, and this bug report is a new task. Okay. Any questions about this whole flow, Jira in general? All right, so if not, but if at any point you have a question, just let me know. And yeah, we will also be working with Jira. There will be class tasks. We will be working with Jira today with examples, but there will also be homework. I will be adding homework after each task, and what you will need to do is also go through this flow. Like, you start working on homework, you put the task in progress. When you're ready for me to review this homework, you put it to code review, and so on. So this way you will also learn the actual practices on how to work with the process. Okay, you don't have yet accesses, right? Nothing changed in your Jira schedule. Please check. Okay, then give me a minute. I'll just go check if the PM is in the office. If not, then we will continue with another thing. So can you please try refreshing your page now? I think we figured it out. Okay, you can see. Awesome. Okay, so now let's start working on Confluence. So Confluence is an add-on to Jira that allows you to make documentation and basically all kind of text-related stuff. It is used mainly for documenting projects. Basically, anything you can do with notes, you can and should do with Confluence. They're also tied to the project. In your case, it is tied to your own project, to your board. And we will be using Confluence to create answer questions to homework, to the text-based homework. There will be different kinds of homework. There will be quizzes to which you will need to answer questions. There will be, of course, a lot of coding and so on. Like coding will be the main one, but still you do need to understand some theory too. There will be mostly practice-based, but will also always be backed up by theory because both things are important, but practice first, in my opinion. So if you look here on the left, you should see project pages. I think it was this one. Okay. Yes. So you should see something like this. Is this correct? Okay. If I press this one. Yeah. If you press like you should have one page, right? The home page. Okay, if you press it, it opens a window like this and you can just view it. But in order to edit it, you need to press this button at the top called Open in Confluence. And something like this should open. Also, yeah, I don't know. Jira is black for me, but Confluence is white for me. But the dark theme is experimental, so I guess they haven't done the theming for all pages. So sorry if it looks like this. Shouldn't change anything. So the first thing, okay, that's you have open Confluence. Okay, this works great. Then we can start with our first task. So what I want you to do is go back to your board, and you can always do this by clicking here, board on the left. And we will do our first task. It is super simple. Let's take a look at what it is. It is called Create My First Confluence Page. And what you need to do is to create a page in Confluence, call it About Me, and fill in the following information: your full name, your contacts, your GitHub nickname. If you have already registered. If not, then you will need to return and update it here when you register. And just a couple of sentences for yourself. What is your goal for the course? What do you expect to have by the end of the course, so that when we end, you can go back and see if it has been fulfilled. Okay, and we will start by first moving these tickets to in progress. So please also move it on your board so you get used to it. Okay, and then here in Confluence, in Pages, here on the left, you can press a plus sign, and it will give you this editing page. You can call it About Me and fill in information.
Can you show the thing?
Yes, yes. I'll just go back. So it saves me as a draft. I'll delete it for now. Second. So here on the left, right, you have Confluence opened. No, okay. So now here press project pages on the left. And then press this, and here's the left. It's not the best user experience. I don't know why they did it this way, but yeah, it is what it is. It opens now, right? Okay, and here on the left, as on the screen, you can press the plus button, and it will create a new file for you. And we can move on. So next thing that we will do is, first of all, we will move the ticket to done. And the next thing that we will learn to do is we will do this as an example for today's class tasks, but for sure we won't be doing this for class tasks, but only for homework tasks. So because we will have a lot of homework, and this homework was estimated like by me, but I'm not sure like how fast you can do it or how slow, how much of it is too much for you or too little and so on. I would like to see like how much time you spend on it. Like you don't need to stress about it. It's actual information and feedback for me. So we will learn how to track time that you spent on homework. So that like when you work on it, you can track time, and then in the end, we can see like just for yourself, like you won't be sharing it with anyone else if you don't want, like it's personal information. But in general, this is how we do it in Chile too. Because we are an agency, which means we work for clients, and we need to build clients, and clients need to understand what they're built for. We log time to the tasks that we work on. So for example, today I spent 4 hours on implementing a login or something like that. So I log 4 hours to the login ticket. And then by the end of the month, it's all gets put out together into a form and sent to the clients. That's why time tracking is important. It's also done in a lot of agency-like companies, especially those that work with a lot of different clients. So for that, there's also an add-on to Jira called Tempo. And you can find it also here on the left. It's called Timesheet. And you can open it. And you will see it something like this. It's also white. So I guess Jira only made dark theme for itself, but not for its add-ons. So it looks like that. You see this, right?
Mm.
Okay, you can also, for example, in here, change the overview to, in general overview, weeks, days, and so on. And just let me check something real quick. There's also tempo with this. Okay. They have done something weird. I guess you can log from here. If yeah. Okay, so you can log from here. For example, today is 7th of June, right? And we've spent, let's say, 15 minutes on the Confluence task. So I will write 15 minutes. Usually this is done in hours, not minutes, but in our case, it's minutes. And the syntax for this is just M for minutes, H for hours, this, or for example, D for days. And the last thing that we need to do here is to search the issue. And this is when we return back to our board, we can see that each ticket has like this little ID. For me, it's Pat, but this Jira gives those IDs itself. It comes from the name of the project. So I can see here, for me, it's called Flutter Academy Tutor. So it just takes the first letters. And then every time I create a ticket, it gives it like an ID. So this is the full ID. And the Confluence ticket for me was F84. So I need to remember it, and then search issues. I will look for FAT. FAT 4. You will have different titles. Your title depends on the tickets in your board. Okay, so for example, for Valdez, it's FAVM1. For Valentin, it's FAVS, and for Nikita, FANS, right? And for English, it's FAIV. And okay, so we find it.
How you
yes.
open that window?
I have it just as a separate window in parallel usually. Oh, you mean tempo? Oh, long time. That's a long time. And then, for example, if I take a lot of time to work on a ticket, more than 8 hours, I prefer to, for each next time log, to write a description of what was happening, so that then I have some like background, because time goes by and you don't remember what exactly happened. So description and notes always help. But in this case, I'll leave it empty and I'll just press log time. And then I can see that today, 7th of June, I have worked for quarter of an hour. Okay. Did everyone manage to do this? All good? Okay, so yeah, basically this is what you will need to be doing for homework. I will remind you about this, so don't worry. With that, I think we're pretty much done with Jira, Tempo, and Confluence. Might seem a bit overwhelming at first, but you will get used to it really fast. Like you will move 5 homeworks and you'll be a professional by the end of it. So just to recap, we have a Jira board. This is a source of truth for all of the tasks that you need to do. Everyone has their own board. When tasks that we need to do are in to-do column. When you start working on it, you move it to in progress. If it needs a check from me, you move it to code review after you're done and ready for me to review it. And after I approve it, you can move it to done. And if you have questions that need my answer before you feel like you want it to review, then you can move it to blocked and ask those questions to me. After you're done with homework, you can open timesheet and log your time to homework, to the tasks with these IDs for each task. And if the homework is related to writing some document, you open project pages, navigate to Confluence from that, and to homework there. Because Confluence, I also can leave comments. We can also have discussions. So it's pretty comfortable tool for collaborating on written content. Okay. Yes. Now, yes.
I don't see you cover.
See. Is this for everyone? You also don't need to worry about the end of the plan. You can just the duration. Can you say after the last time we look at check-ins? Or maybe if it's just for you, that's something with your information. I believe I'll ask project manager. But everyone else, it's okay. Okay, then just remind me when we will review this. Okay, so Android Studio. Did everyone install Android Studio? Okay, that's great. And Flutter, did everyone install Flutter?
Yes.
Wallace, did you install Flutter too?
What do you mean install Flutter? Yes, but actually yes, but
yeah, I mean we will check that it's installed correctly, but I mean, did you follow the documentation that I sent for installing? Okay. So to check if you have installed Flutter, you need to open your command window or terminal. Oh, it's not showing, right? It's not showing on my screen. Let me start sharing it again. Just a second. No, the vendors. Okay. No. Terminal. So basically you need to type Flutter Doctor and see if it gives you any information. Oh, and also, yeah, before. It's a CMD, I believe. For you. I'm also not an expert on Windows, so hopefully we could all help each other out here. Since I moved on to Mac, I forgot how to work with Windows. It's been a while. Also, yeah, you can move. I completely forgot, but in your board, we also had a ticket called Log My First Time Report. We have done it, so we can move it to done. And the same goes, okay, we haven't run our first Flutter app yet, but we have started working on it. And in order to run our first Flutter app, we need to install Android Studio, install Flutter, make sure that Flutter works. make sure that Flutter works in general on your computer, but then we will also make sure that it works in Android Studio. Then we will create an emulator, and also for those who have devices, we will run on your devices, but we will also have some extra devices in Chile, so we will all try running on real devices. So don't worry about that. And then we will create our first Flutter app, first Flutter app, and make sure that it runs correctly.
Я дома делал,
Да.
у меня всё было.
Наверное, не прописан путь правильно. Ничего не показывает, да? Может, как терминал. Так, сейчас. Можешь открыть вот это окно, которое у тебя было до этого? Или в Safari, как раз. Вот, да, так.
Ну, у меня было, у меня, может, там
Сейчас.
у меня вот эта тема была в файле,
Да, а сейчас нет, да.
сейчас нет.
Да,
Ну,
но
типа просто заново.
если сохранишь, он сохранит ее, будет нормально работать.
Сейчас можно.
Да, с этим бывает проблема изначально, причем у каждого свои, каждый раз уникальные, поэтому с установкой такое может быть. Поэтому не переживаем, будем разбираться. Да, поэтому я попросила лучше сделать это заранее, потому что зависит от многих факторов, она может устанавливаться очень долго. А еще она обычно, хоть оно пишет, что установилось, это не значит, что она установилась нормально. Вот. Это самый болезненный момент, потом все нормально. Единственное, что может быть еще относительно болезненно, это если работать над несколькими реальными проектами. Для всех окей, что я на русский переключилась. Точно, если что, говорите, не переключиться обратно. Если ты работаешь над разными проектами, и каждый проект написан под разные Flutter-версии, тебе нужно переключаться между Flutter-версиями, вот тогда бывает иногда немножко геморно, что нужно там чистить кэш и так далее. Все? Отлично. Прекрасно. Как вы хотите? Мы можем продолжить на русском, можем на английском. Кому как?
Well, I prefer English,
Okay.
but I do understand Russian also. But
Let's do it in English, and then if you have questions in Russian, feel free to ask in Russian. If you have questions in Latvian, feel free to ask in Latvian. I will reply either in Russian or in English, because I also understand everything, but I have a hard time speaking. So let's just work for everything that works best for everyone. For you, if you don't have a Mac, then or if you have a Mac but don't have Xcode, then Xcode will be red and something else will be red. But what we need green is Flutter. We need Android toolchain, Android Studio, whatever network resources is. I have no idea what that is. Probably just my connection or something. Connected devices can be 0, so that's all right. Is this true for everyone, or?
Actually, I saw that my Android toolchain have like Android license not accepted.
Okay, this should be accepted during mission. Yeah, I think it should be in terminal, but I don't remember at which point when installing stuff. You could quickly Google it, and if there is a quick solution, then you can use that. If not, then we will probably do it. Okay, okay, let me see your Flutter doctor. Okay. Okay. Yes, Windows is on. Okay, can we differ around because different. And we also.
Ну, it's all Mosquito. No, it was.
Okay. Okay. Good. Is there a quick fix for that?
Yeah.
There is?
Yeah.
Okay.
just
I remember there should be like just typing yes or no in the
Yeah.
console, something like
I'm
that.
just checking. Should be 7 times. Yes. Okay.
Are you sure you accept the license?
Yeah, it's fine.
Awesome. Okay, so it's green for you.
Yeah.
Awesome. Perfect. Okay, so now Flutter Doctor is okay. Now we need to make sure that it works all right with Android Studio. But to do that, we will create a real project. And to do that, I don't remember at which point Android Studio creates a folder called Android Studio Projects. I don't know if you already have it on your devices anywhere, because I have it, but I think I created mine manually. If not, let's create. For me, I have it like here at the root, a folder called Android Studio Projects. So if you don't have it, you can create it. Just a folder wherever you want, and just remember where it's located, because this is where your projects will be. I'll just navigate to Android Studio Projects and to another folder. You don't have to create Flutter Academy only if you want to, but yeah, you need an Android Studio project folder just to remember that all of your projects will be here. Okay, everyone done with that? Okay, perfect. So now what we need to do is we need to type another command called, oops, where are you? Oh, there you are. It's called Flutter create. So basically what this command does, it's automatically create a new project for you, a Flutter project, with, if you don't specify any arguments, with all of the platforms that are supported and so on. And what we need to do is also give it a name. So let's call it my first app, like this, underscore, I believe, because if it's just the score, I don't remember what it's called, then it will scream at you. So it should be underscore. Okay, and then if you press enter, it should start creating. And it will tell me also where is the code located. So did this work for everyone? Okay, so можно через Android Studio, но так, мне кажется, намного быстрее. Можно через Android Studio, кому как удобнее, я просто показываю один способ, всегда есть еще больше способов. Также и с работой с Jira, и также будет с работой с GitHub. То, что я показываю, то, как я делаю, как мы делаем и так далее, всегда есть более, ну, не в смысле более удобные, но, короче, разные способы, каждому свое, и если вам что-то подходит больше, то, конечно, используйте это. То же самое с IDE-шками, Android Studio, VS Code, кому что удобнее. Я попросила именно Android Studio на время этого курса, потому что так будет удобнее помогать вам, и чтобы вы, ну, делали то же самое, что и я. Вот, но ваши именно дальнейшие разработки, ну, или если вы хотите во время курса тоже, конечно, можете использовать VS Code. Вот. Android Studio все равно нужна для того, чтобы дебажить иногда, и если нужно переходить на нативный Android уровень. То же самое Xcode, это iOS-ная IDE, чтобы переходить на iOS уровень. Вот, я так предполагаю, что для Windows приложение тоже нужно VS Code или Visual Studio, как оно там называется, Windows-овская IDE-шка и так далее. То есть, вот, тут, может быть, разные IDE-шки нужны. Я знаю, кто-то Vim делает Flutter приложение. Не знаю зачем, но знаю, что зачем-то делают. Вот, поэтому тут давайте каждому свое. All right, back to English. You can open now this project in Android Studio. I usually, I think it needs to be set up from Android Studio. I will share the command later. I will show you two ways. This needs to be set up, but I believe in VS Code, it goes by default. You can enter the project first up and do, for example, like this, and it will launch the studio. But I think I believe for Android Studio, it needs to be something set in the settings, but I don't remember what it is. I will send it, I will show it to you later. It's not important for now. But what you can also do is to just by yourself launch Android Studio. And then open and find your project where it is located. Select the actual folder and just open it. Okay, and this works for everyone? No? See? Да, надо папку. Давай еще раз. А ты не там создавал, значит? Открой, ничего не нету? Нажми на него. Нет, так.
Я просто написал, что create.
Да, ты ее создал вот на своем руте, получается, там, где у тебя... Да, да. Поэтому, если ты сейчас, например, делаешь то же самое, только... Нет, верни в термин. Ну да, вот она у тебя, видишь, находится тут. Да, вот, поэтому надо сначала сделать CD Android Studio Project, чтобы перейти на эту папку, а потом уже там создавать. Everyone else? All good.
Well, I opened it first up, but it's like like in few class. This one.
Okay, yeah, I will explain this bit. Always like this. First time, I do it automatically, so I'll forget. But if you look at the screen and see here, I can't make this one bigger, so sorry. I can only make the code bigger, but for some reason the studio on the left doesn't. I'll see if I can do something about it. But here on the very left, if you open by default, your view is Android, and it will show you. It will try to show you your project as a real Android project. There is a special structure for a native Android project. So Android Studio has a special view for those. But even in native Android projects, and especially in Flutter, I prefer the view called project. So if you click on the Android on the left, you need to select project. And then it will just show you as the file structure as is and not specifically as an Android project. For now, we will return to explain what are those folders and so on in detail later on. For now, this is not important. But what is important is, okay, let's first try, you know what, run it on Chrome, and then we will try to create an emulator. So here at the top, do you also have a selector for devices? Yes, okay, oh, you have already run everything, so it works for you. For you, let me see. Yeah, it's okay. Let's see if we can run it first on Chrome. Okay, Chrome Web, yes. Can you select this? So basically, does everyone see Chrome or any other browser in here? Yes, let me see. I don't know why.
open session.
You need to.
Or I can use.
Settings. It's not this. For me, it's just when you open Android Studio and on the left. It should be preferences. Let me see if I can use it with the shortcut. Okay, just
You can continue, I guess.
if you press double shift and look for preferences. Yeah.
Okay.
Now, sorry. All good. Okay, if you have selected a device or Chrome, you can try to run the app. Waiting for connection. Oh, why is it lilac? Is it blue for someone? And it's lilac. Okay, but it's blue for you, right? It's probably an older. Did you install Flutter before, like some while ago? Okay, then you will need to upgrade Flutter. I believe this is. You don't have to do it. Okay, perfect. Then you need to upgrade. Yeah, it's the same for you. Yeah. Okay, that's actually interesting. It's the first time I see this. I know why. I guess I know why. Yes. Wait, is it installing? Oh, okay. I did not look at the Okay, so yeah, that's the Flutter 3.7, I believe. Because they have enabled Material 3. We will return to what is Material 1, 2, and 3 in the future. But Material 3 is just a design system from Google. And I guess now it's default color lilac. It used to be like this blue, and this blue is something that is really associated with Flutter, so it's really interesting to see now a lilac color. Yeah, you can type this Flutter beta, of course. You can drop everything because probably change something in local files, but it's not a problem. Okay, so if it works on web, then we also, and if it works for you on devices, for those who have devices, it's okay. For those who don't, we will have a little break, and after the break, I will give you devices. But we can also, for everyone, create an emulator. So basically, there are two types of test emulating kind of devices. First are Androids. For Android, it's called emulators. They actually kind of like emulate the system, the operating system, and so on. Like you can have different Android versions and so on. There's iOS. They have simulators, and their simulators they don't actually like emulate the operating system. They're just macOS apps. So that's why they like simulate but not emulate. It's a minor difference. Don't need to worry about it right now. It's just an interesting fact. So we will be working mostly with Android emulators for now. And okay, open Android emulator. You probably, if you click like this, you should probably, if you have not created emulators before, not have the options to open emulator ABC. So what we need to do is, there should be like this little button. Depends on your Android version, because I believe I don't have the newest Android version. It should be called Device Manager. But I think if we double check. Yeah. So another life hack. It's a shortcut in Android Studio. If you press double shift, like quickly, boom, boom, then a search box opens and you can search all kind of stuff. You can search both in code, but you can also search in Android Studio itself. And if you type Device Manager, you should have an option like this. Do you have an option like this? Okay, then open it. Also, yeah, maybe some different windows. Yes. Oh, that's okay. It's okay, just go. I need to come up with better places for sockets. I was afraid this was actually I'm ready for it. But anyway, we can continue for now. Or you know what? I'll just bring also real devices. You have your device. You have your device. You don't have device, and I think all this also doesn't have. I'll just... Okay. So if you open the device manager, it should look probably something like this. See, yeah. Oh, you have already mentioned, so you know everything. Okay. Oh, it's 0, 0, 0. For you? Fine, but you also have an emulator. Oh no, it's your device, right? No, it's emulator. Okay, and it works for you? Here on the right, you should see. Oh, okay, it's jumping around.
I think it's.
Yeah. Oh nope, you need to accept what. So you need to disconnect and connect it again, because it asks if it can send you. Now you need always. Oh, okay, but it will ask you all this thing all the time, so it's usually better to just like select the always allow. Otherwise, you'll be clicking along. Okay, so let's wait for you to see if it works on device, and then we can move on to emulate. Initially, we have like a farm of devices with all kind of Android versions and so on, because as mobile apps go, there can be bugs on one API version and no bugs on the other version. So it's always good to test on different versions of Android, different versions of iOS, different screen sizes, because sometimes UI like it should be scrollable, but it's actually not scrollable. So you need to check that. And emulators are also a good way if you don't have a lot of devices or don't want to connect a lot of devices all of the time, and you can just create all kinds of emulators and use them for your own development and testing. But emulators are emulators, and in real life, before actual releasing to stores, it's still crucial to run on a real device because it can. Nice. Ready? Here. Nice. Okay. Там иногда дать разрешение и всякие такие штуки, поэтому завести устройство. Так. Запустился, да, со студией на телефоне? Еще ждешь? Скажите мне, что сейчас в универах учат? Приложение учат делать? Нет? Ага.
Ну да, один предмет просто. Да. Как выбрать, типа, не обязательно.
Брали?
Я взял, типа, да. Там можно было даже Photoshop выбрать. Там, типа, можно было вообще не что-то с программированием связано.
Мне кажется, в мое время тоже было выборочно, но я училась в Дагопилсе, и в Дагопилсе не было выборочно, было выборочно в Риге. Я тоже в кстати. Ты с Дагопилса сам? А ты вирту заканчиваешь, нет? Нет? Окей. Я все время закончила рту, но нет, особо это поменяла, честно говоря. Вот. Но в целом, если сам заинтересован, тогда это может быть полезно, особенно предметы, которые непосредственно связаны с компьютер-сайенсом. То есть обращать внимание на алгоритмы, на структуры данных, это вот просто обязательно. Короче, хватит какого-то моделирования.
Предметов 7, и где-то только 2, наверное, программировали на Java на первом курсе и на Python еще. Да, структуры даты. Да, и ВБА, типа в Excel. Ну, то есть какая-то... А все остальное это там физика, математика, ну, то есть вообще...
Да, у нас тут...
Ну, как бы просто как высшее образование.
Математика 2 года, по-моему, была подряд каждый семестр, много часов программирования.
Там у нас 2 типа разных, много разных, как разные предметы.
Дискретно нужно учить. Выше, как сказать, не, ну, конечно, полезно в любом случае, но я уже ничего не помню. Это круто.
Я не представляю, как можно десятку получить.
Мне кажется, это очень круто, и я думаю, что если у тебя хорошая с математикой, и ты реально в этом шаришь, то ты можешь много применения этому найти. Например, те открытые дороги, там всякие анимации, какие-то number crunching вещи и так далее. То есть это не бесполезный навык в любом случае. Это не обязательно, чтобы непосредственно программировать, то есть чтобы создавать мобильные апки там, с кнопочками и так далее. Это совсем не обязательно, но если это есть, это только бонус. Поэтому. Это с любым навыком в жизни. Ну, то есть, как бы, чем больше ты знаешь, чем больше ты умеешь, тем лучше тебе. Вот. Честно, мне кажется, что вот имея практику, например, сначала в программировании, потом идти на высшее по программированию, было бы больше смысла. Потому что, например, когда я училась, у меня вылетало и вылетало из головы, потому что еще не было вот этих вот ментальной модели и понимания, как что к чему. Сейчас приходится заново все учить самостоятельно. Вот, поэтому... Так, ну, у всех на устройствах запустилось, правильно? Отлично. Да, давайте попробуем создать эмуляторы, те, кто еще не создавал. Вот это тут вот в нашем девайс-менеджере. Кстати, девайс-менеджер еще можно вот тут справа всегда выбрать. Если он, например, потерялся, можно его найти либо тут справа, либо поиском double shift, как я говорила. Вот, и тут мы нажимаем Create Device и можем всякие штуки выбирать для нашего устройства. Есть как бы resolution, size, density, я думаю, это все плюс-минус понятно. Это расширение экрана и всякие настройки, связанные с как работает дисплей. Название, очевидно, ну, как бы тоже это пиксели, Nexus какой-то в прошлом веке были. Вот, и интересующая нас графа еще это Play Store, потому что от наличия Play Store и Google Play сервисов на Android-устройстве зависит работа некоторых библиотек, таких как Firebase. Не все, но какие-то вещи зависят. И, например, как вы знаете, наверное, несколько лет назад с скандалом с Huawei, то есть когда им запретили использовать вот Android-систему, и они перешли на свой Harmony OS, по-моему, он так называется, и там нету Google Play сервисов. Вот когда говорят, что это Google Play сервисов, это нету вот этого тоже в том числе. И это значит, что некоторые библиотеки очень важные нельзя использовать. Приходится делать дополнительные штуки для того, чтобы какой-то функционал поддерживался также на устройствах. Вот. Мы так делали в Чизе приложение LTAP. Если вы слышали про него, это приложение, если у тебя случилась авария, и тебя 2 человека, не больше, по 2 человек, по больше нельзя в LTAP приложение, можешь... Да. Очень жаль. Это тот случай, когда хочется сказать, очень жаль, что пришлось использовать наше приложение. Вот. Ну да, ну и вообще приложение для того, чтобы фиксировать...
Там, когда ты выбираешь, только запускаешь приложение, все равно английский.
Это мы передадим, да. Но там было, вот и много было фиксов и доработок после прошлого года, вот, но все еще в активной разработке, и да, как бы, поэтому в любом случае баги — это норма, я их передам, узнаю, что они точно пофиксили это, вот, и что это важно, вот, но тогда, конечно, идет процесс разработки, баги фиксятся, улучшаются, особенно те проекты, которые были первые, в которых мы еще только начинали использовать Flutter, вот, один из них, там тоже свои нюансы. Так вот, я это к тому, что LTAP — важное приложение для жителей Латвии, и, следовательно, мы не можем сказать, что типа, на Huawei мы не поддерживаем, типа, идите в баню, мы так не будем делать. И поэтому там для некоторых вещей приходилось отдельно вот создавать всякие штуки для Huawei. Во-первых, Huawei Store его заливать, а во-вторых, именно библиотеки использовать для поддержки push-нотификаций, вот, всяких таких штук. Вот. Вот, это про Play Store и Play сервисы. Короче, мы можем выбрать любой девайс. Допустим, 4 с Play сервисами это у меня будет. Дальше идет Android-версии. Их много всяких разных. Какой мы сейчас поддерживаем? Вообще, по-моему, даже 7-я версия Android считается уже deprecated. Но мы в своих приложениях поддерживаем все еще пока что с 5-й. Прям сейчас 13-я, по-моему, актуальная уже. Вот, поэтому... Правильно, 13-я вроде. Вот, и поэтому важно тестировать тоже на разных версиях Android. На самой низкой, которой поддерживаете, на самой высокой, которой поддерживаете, потому что с низкими могут быть проблемы какого-то старого характера, а с высокими, так как Android с каждой новой версии выкатывает все больше обновлений, связанных с security, с безопасностью, ограничениями, какими-то пермишенами и так далее. Очень часто бывает такое, что вышла новая Android-версия, ты еще даже не тестировал на ней, а тебе уже прилетает баг-репорт, что что-то не работает, потому что вот так. Поэтому это важно тоже тестировать. Вот. Ну и дальше, да, тут можно выбрать всякие штучки, можно сделать advanced settings, если прям нужно что-то конкретное имитировать. Вот. И потом финиш. И он должен появиться здесь. Его можно запускать. И потом тогда вот там же, где мы выбирали реальное устройство, если запущен эмулятор, он должен появиться здесь как опция. И тогда можно запустить на нем. А с гитом вы работали в университете или самостоятельно?
Ну, что, ну, университет.
Мне кажется, у меня не было. Хотя гид нужен всегда и везде. Странно, что преподают основательно.
Ну, нам даже не объясняли, там просто там один предмет, дается задание, создается в GitHub какое-то, ну, там задание уже сделано, там, и ты просто должен его к себе принять, и потом отсюда, типа, ну, новую версию, как в том же файле просто. Он там тестики какие-то автоматические делает, там оценку ставит, и все. Это само объяснение, как бы, ничего не было, просто самостоятельно.
То есть, ну, прям не учили вас им пользоваться?
Даже как будто не существует.
Да, у нас в мое время тоже как будто не существовало. А у тебя, Игорь, было что-то в университете? Нет, тоже не было. Так и живем. Ну, нет, ну, университет, на самом деле, дает хорошую базу теоретическую, особенно если заниматься. Что многие, я тоже грешна, не делают, особенно пока в университете. Вот. А практически нужно, конечно, самому нарабатывать навыки, но в целом это, наверное, нормально, мне кажется, потому что программирование такая сфера, которая развивается супер быстро, и делать под нее университетские программы просто вот невозможно. Да. А? Да. Да. Вот. Так что вот так вот. Окей, тогда, я так понимаю, у всех работают нормальные эмуляторы и устройства, правильно? Валдис куда-то пропал. Ладно, с ним я посмотрю устройство потом. В принципе, на этой части мы закончили. Раз у всех все работает, мы можем перейти на Git и GitHub. У меня изначально нативный Android бэкграунд. Я в свое время года 4, наверное, разрабатывала под Android нативные приложения. Но потом в мою жизнь ворвался Flutter. Вот, и с тех пор именно вот по экспириенсу как разработчика Flutter приложения писать намного приятнее, намного быстрее, чем нативное Android приложение. Вот, это такой консенсус, мне кажется. Это мы дойдем. Вот. Тут ничего нет. Это разницу мы посмотрим с точки зрения архитектуры, что такое Flutter, что такое Android. Мы дойдем до этого, не переживайте после этого. Вот, с точки зрения кода совсем другой, но сейчас в Android все чаще используется Jetpack Compose, который точно так же вот разрешает, как Flutter, писать код без лейаутов. Dart называют языком, который ты уже знаешь. То есть, несмотря на то, что непосредственно никто не учит Dart просто так, всегда Dart практически идет с Flutter, хотя он сам по себе независимый язык, но обычно Dart учат из-за Flutter. Но при этом Приходя в Dart, уже многое понятно, если у тебя есть опыт с любыми другими языками, потому что, ну, там концепции общие, и поэтому синтаксис может чуть-чуть различаться. Вот, особенно если вы любители Kotlin, где убрали точки с запятыми, то Dart вам не понравится, потому что там вернули. Вот, андроидчики любят на это плеваться. Вот, но это есть свои плюсы и минусы. Так, давайте тогда... Может, мы можем сделать 5 минут перерыв быстро, если кому-то нужно там, уборную, кофе, водички. И давайте тогда в 11:25 вернемся и продолжим. Поговорим либо про Flutter, либо про Git, посмотрим. Начнем. Кофе кто-то хочет? Я могу сказать кухню, где делать кофе, чай. Чай? Нет? Никто кофе?
Такой день же, что-то очень...
пропал, то есть пропал, проявляется, но будем начинать с него. На английском, на русском, как вам рассказывать. Давайте на русском, да. Окей. Flutter — это кроссплатформенная разработка, но нам нужно сначала поговорить про нативную мобильную разработку. Сейчас вы знаете почему. В целом интересующих нас операционных систем существует две основных. Это iOS и Android. И под обе эти операционные системы существуют абсолютно разные языки программирования, абсолютно разные фреймворки. То есть они вообще между собой не пересекаются никак. Есть Apple, есть Google, вот они занимаются своими осями. На Android мы пишем уже много лет как под Kotlin, на Kotlin, который также компилируется в байткод, тот же, в который компилируется Java, и вообще Kotlin можно Java перевести, потому что изначально Android писался на Java, но сейчас, мне кажется, на Java только совсем legacy приложения остались, и никакое нормальное новое приложение не будет писаться на Java. Если вы знаете такой job-offer, бегите. Вот, потому что даже современные фреймворки, такие как Jetpack Compose, это фреймворк, позволяющий писать декларативный UI, мы дойдем до этого. По Flutter он только на Kotlin недоступен, то есть некоторые вещи на Java тоже недоступны. В случае Apple это Swift, это тоже их разработанный язык программирования. Раньше это был Objective-C, от него они тоже ушли, и уже много лет это как, много лет это уже как Swift. И в чем фишка? Плюс разработки на нативных платформах — это, естественно, то, что они поддерживаются вот максимально. То есть, если ты Android-разработчик, тебе доступно абсолютно все из коробки, что доступно под Android, все нативные API. Вот сегодня они на Google I.O. объявили, что новый Android будет саппортить, я не знаю, полеты в космос, ты можешь теперь саппортить полеты в космос. Вот. То есть, если ты пишешь нативно. Ну и плюс это самое приближенное к операционной системе, следовательно, все оптимизации, все security, все вот максимально на этом уровне. То же самое касается Apple. Но из минусов это то, что, как я уже сказала, это абсолютно разные платформы, абсолютно разные языки программирования. И обычно очень редко бывает такое, что один девелопер, он прям суперспециалист и в iOS, и в Android. Обычно нет, обычно специализируется либо на одной, либо на второй. Кто-то делает и то, тоже, конечно, возможно, но по-хорошему, если ты делаешь приложение, и тебе нужны две платформы, ты, скорее всего, будешь занимать двух разработчиков. Следовательно, это сразу в цене вырастает. Плюс так это разные платформы, они не шарящие между собой код, ничего такого. Это нужно дополнительное тестирование отдельно на каждой платформе, так как код различается. Баги могут быть разные, может быть инконсистентный UI, так как уровень разработчиков тоже отличается, может быть очень хорошо все на iOS, очень плохо на Android или наоборот. Поэтому с точки зрения бизнеса это не самое оптимальное решение. Для таких вещей, чтобы решать такие проблемы, потому что, редко бывает такое, что ты хочешь приложение только на одну платформу, ты, конечно, хочешь поддерживать как можно больше, потому что, опять-таки, это пользователи, это бизнес, и у тебя больше возможностей на нескольких площадках, чем на одной. И поэтому существует очень много разных платформенных фреймворков. Xamarin, который уже не Xamarin, и теперь они выпустили, но C# Microsoft выпустили новый свой фреймворк, это MauUI, дебильное название, я не могу его нормально произнести, MauUI, короче, как-то так он называется. Вот, React Native, Flutter, Ionic, много разных. И вот последние года Flutter все больше и больше завоевывает аудиторию. А Flutter, который и язык программирования, да, на котором создан Flutter Framework, и в целом пишется Flutter код, это вы уже знаете. Вот, и что делает... ладно, я забежала вперед. Что делает Flutter? Flutter — это обертка над нативом. То есть под капотом все равно создаются отдельно нативные Android-приложения, нативные iOS-приложения. Но Flutter, как и другие кроссплатформенные фреймворки, позволяет писать код только один раз. Он под капотом компилирует это под Android, под капотом компилирует под iOS, но ты как разработчик пишешь сразу вот под Android и под iOS. Есть, естественно, свои нюансы, потому что, как я уже сказала, если выпустили, например, новый API, там полететь в космос, то нужно либо самому писать обертку, которая из Flutter вызывает нативные платформы. Это тоже, опять-таки, та же проблема, которая была изначально, то есть две разные платформы написать код, либо ждать, пока кто-то выпустит библиотеку, либо сам Flutter выпустит библиотеку. То есть, если вы прям супер, ваше приложение зависит от всех новых фич, хочет поддерживать абсолютно все новое хардварное как можно скорее, то, возможно, стоит задуматься. Но для большей части приложений, особенно бизнес-приложений, всяких там банков, для игр, короче, чего угодно, все, что не связано с каким-то хардкорным, хардварным взаимодействием, Flutter очень хорошо тянет. Также Flutter является кроссплатформенным фреймворком не только для мобилок, он поддерживает веб. Спорно в каком формате, то есть даже сами Flutter-создатели и поддерживатели говорят, что веб суппортится не для того, чтобы заменить, например, лендинги и одностранички, то есть такой скроллинговый материал, который должен хорошо индексироваться в вебе. Это скорее, если, например, у тебя есть мобильное приложение, тебе нужна админка какая-то, или тебе нужна веб-версия твоего приложения. То есть это лучше всего работает не для веб-сайтов, а для веб-приложений. То есть можно делать сайты тоже, но там есть свои проблемы, свои нюансы. В основном они связаны с SEO, то есть плохо индексируется, потому что там нету ни HTML-тегов, ничего, и это все Dart-код. Только JavaScript, но это мы не будем сейчас обсуждать. Вот. И также эта проблема есть все-таки еще с некоторой скоростью, потому что он загружает все сразу. Также, естественно, Flutter компилируется под Fusion OS, который все пытается разродиться, но как-то очень медленно все идет. Android iOS, также macOS теперь, Linux и Windows. То есть под все эти платформы можно вот Flutter-приложение, которое вы создали, запустить. Как я сказала, у каждого есть свои нюансы, везде иногда нужны свои настройки, но в целом один и тот же код можно запускать на всех этих платформах, и это очень крутая возможность, особенно потестировать что-то. Например, выпустить какой-нибудь MVP, посмотреть вообще, актуален ли он на этих платформах, есть ли спрос. Теперь мы подошли к тому моменту, как это вообще все работает. И тут важно понимать, что такое ваше устройство. Да? Ваше устройство, ну вот мы его можем представить, это вот просто экран, да, вот, на котором показываются пиксели. Да? И вот этот вот белый экран, который можно представить, называется canvas. То есть вот как у художника, да, вот этот холст. Точно так же на устройстве вот canvas есть на мобильном устройстве под операционной системой. И в нативе, что iOS, что Android, есть своя система всяких вот вьюшек. Например, кнопка, картинка, текст и так далее. И натив берет вот эти вот свои компоненты, которые мы как разработчики используем, компонируем, вместе складываем, и напрямую рисуют их на этом холсте. То есть это происходит быстро, потому что мы взяли кнопку и сразу перевели ее на холст. То есть там не надо ей 10 уровней переработки, ничего проходить, она сразу рисуется на холст. То же самое происходит с Flutter, только у Flutter свой набор виджетов, то есть он вообще ничего не знает про вот эти вот нативные виджеты, и ему по барабану, у него свои Flutter кнопки, у него свой Flutter текст, у него свой Flutter список и так далее. Точно так же он все рисует напрямую на Canvas. Из-за этого это происходит все очень быстро, потому что тут нету ничего между вот бюджетами и Canvas. Что такое бюджеты, мы еще будем очень много раз обсуждать, поэтому не переживайте. Есть такие фреймворки, как, например, React Native, которые часто противопоставляют Flutter. И, например, одна из проблем с React Native — это что он делает. Под капотом происходит так, что React Native все равно использует нативные виджеты, то есть те, про которые мы говорили, вот Android-кнопка, iOS-кнопка и так далее, то есть весь этот процесс. Но так как React Native предоставляет возможность разработчику писать виджеты свои на JavaScript, ему нужно эти виджеты с JavaScript перевести, ну вот с React Native, то есть не просто JavaScript, а именно React Native виджетов перевести, ну вот прям буквально как переводчик, перевести в нативные виджеты, и только тогда они доходят до отрисовки непосредственно на канвасе. Это происходит все намного медленнее, и поэтому есть огромные проблемы с перформансом. Вот. А React Native начал двигаться в сторону похожего подхода, как Flutter, связанного с рендерингом напрямую, но там все еще пока что в альфе, все очень может меняться, все это непонятно, и поэтому пока что де-факто это вот так вот работает, и это одна из причин, например, по которой мы в Чили изначально даже не консидерили React Native, потому что, ну, вот это все очень медленно происходит. И тот факт, что Flutter дает возможность рисовать свои виджеты, дает разработчику очень много свободы и креативности, потому что ты вообще никак не подвязан на нативные виджеты. Ты можешь рисовать все, что ты хочешь, ты можешь делать все, что ты хочешь, всякие кастомизации, и из-за этого Flutter также называют UI toolkit'ом, а не фреймворком, потому что он позволяет делать, ну, очень разные красивые интерфейсы пользовательские. Вот. Но если очень нужно, если вот прям очень нужно, все равно есть возможность через Flutter показать нативные виджеты тоже. То есть нужно иметь в виду, что всегда есть возможность фоллбэчиться на натив прямо из Flutter приложения. Для этого не нужно выкидывать Flutter приложение обязательно на Android или iOS. Нет. Есть возможность сделать фоллбэк на натив. Это все предусмотрено. Ну, точно так же я предполагаю, что это в React Native. Вот. И других некоторых фреймворков. Некоторые, типа электронные, по-моему, они, по сути, просто показывают твое приложение как веб-версию, запихнутое приложение. Из-за этого там еще больше проблем с перформансом. Вот. Это такое было небольшое интро во Flutter, именно как он работает. Мы будем это смотреть намного более глубоко, и, естественно, на практике мы тоже будем с этим работать и работать. Есть ли какие-то вопросы или сомнения по этому? Ну, вообще понятно, или ты сказала тут ерунду, ничего не понятно?
Понятно, что мы создавать фичи и... Короче, типа, там виджет, когда типа, да, типа, ну, короче, там разные виды.
Да, но между собой они не связаны.
Ну да, да.
В этом появляется скорость Flutter. То есть что? В каком случае выбрали бы на тип, а в каком случае выбрали Flutter? Ваши вообще идеи. Ну, тут нет правил. А что сложно? Это что, по-твоему?
Не знаю, какая-то большая программа, с какой-то там сложной логикой, что-то такое.
Ну, на самом деле, здесь я не соглашусь, потому что именно сам непосредственно объем приложения не так связан, и бизнес-логика, тем более, если это, например, просто дергать какой-то там REST API, вообще нет никаких проблем с Flutter. Есть огромные приложения на Flutter там, с миллионами строчек кода, которые работают прекрасно, но если много работы, например, там вся суть приложения завязана на какой-нибудь Bluetooth, или вся суть приложения завязана на какую-то бэкграунд-работу, ну, всякие такие вещи, которые вот прям очень сильно используют какие-то вот такие спецификли операционной системы вещи, вот тогда, наверное, имеет смысл задумываться про вот. Как-то так. Посмотрим. Я перестану на секунду делиться экраном. Тогда перейдем к Git. Да. Переходим. Сейчас узнаем. Сейчас узнаем. Вот, но давайте начнем с обсуждения вообще проблем. Какая существует проблема? Вот, допустим, у нас есть 3 разработчика, да, там разработчик 1, 2 и 3. И они все работают над одной кодовой базой. Мы делаем одно приложение, и каждый из нас добавляет фичу. Как нам коллаборировать над этой кодовой базой? Делать фичу, отправлять кому-то zip, а если в итоге ты ему отправил, там твоя фича есть, а Валентина нету фичи, да? То есть вот, что делать в таком случае? Получается какой-то полный бардак. А если разработчиков не 3, а 53? То есть очевидно, что перекидывание файлов, которые хранятся у кого-то только на устройстве, и редактировать их, это не дальновидно, и это не особо скейлится как опция. Ну или окей, допустим, ты делаешь все равно какое-то свое приложение, если нет у тебя других разработчиков, ты работаешь этим тебе по барабану. Но ты сделал изменения и добавил какие-то новые файлы или какой-то код написал. Потом день спустя понимаешь, что тебе этот код не нужен, вообще удалился нафиг, и теперь у тебя вот новое состояние твоего приложения. Неделю спустя понял, что все-таки, блин, нет, это было неправильно, и мне нужен тот код, который был изначально до того, как я сделал предыдущие изменения. И что делать? Вот если у тебя все сохранено в одном файле, так на твоем компьютере, никакой истории, то вот придется просто вспоминать все с нуля, что ты делал в прошлый раз. И, скорее всего, это будет еще и фрустрировать, и сложнее, потому что можно что-то забыть, что-то потерять. А если этого кода было еще немного, то вообще какая мотивация это делать? Для такого, это очевидная проблема для многих разработчиков, придумали одно из решений, это называется Version Control Systems, или VCS сокращенно, то есть вы можете видеть такое сокращение, это означает Version Control Systems. Их много разных.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's okay. Are you all right?
Yeah, everything's fine.
Okay. So we didn't go far, so but you're lucky. I'll just quickly recap while you're here. So we discussed there are two types of we discussed Flutter, but it's not important. We will be returning to that in the future. I mean, it's important, but we will be returning to that in the future. First problem is if we have several developers working on one code base, how do we share this code base among the developers? Like, do we send files to each other? What do we do in case of changes from several developers? And the second problem is even if you're working as a single developer, what happens if you have done one change, then you have overwritten this change, and next time you want that change back. And if you were working in one file and saving it in a local repository, then there is no way for you to return it except for just remembering what happened and rewriting it all from scratch. And the solution to this problem is our version control systems. This is software, different kind of software, but I guess de facto in programming world has become what is known as Git. So Git is a software which allows you to track your changes. So for every change that you do, there's history, and you can always go back in time. And in case of our first problem, you can see that, okay, on Monday I did change 1. I just want to return to change 1. And there's no need for you to remember what you did there because you already have it in history. And the same way, you share the code among other developers, and they can always get their changes, your changes themselves, and push their own changes to you. This is all centralized in one place where it's stored, and everyone is up to date, and it's easy to collaborate. So Git, we won't be diving too deep in how actually under the hood Git works because it's too complicated and it's not that important. But just so that you understand, Git is what solves this problem, and we will learn from practice how to use it. So Git is just software. Why is it called so? You don't need to read all of this, but this is just a quote from the README of the actual code base. and basically Git is just random. The creator of Git is the same guy who created the Linux, and he just said that I needed a random short word that is not a Unix command, so he came up with Git. So there's really no special meaning to Git as a word. And then there's GitHub. GitHub is a different software. Currently, it's owned by Microsoft, and GitHub is like not like a website, but a server which holds your repositories, but use Git as software. It might be a bit confusing right now, but you will get used to it from practice. For example, there is GitHub, there's GitLab, there's Bitbucket, and so on. There can be many different clients, what they're called clients, but under the hood they use Git as software. So the same way like we use Flutter as a framework, but we create a lot of different apps, right? So Flutter is Git, and our apps is GitHub. And so GitHub is one of those apps that uses Git, and it also offers more features that allow you to collaborate in even a more effective way. So it is used for as a server for hosting repositories that use Git as software, and offers more features like documentation, bug tracking, pull requests, which is very important and which we will be working with, and you will understand what it is. Okay, now let's try to understand in more details what it is and how it works. So initially on GitHub, you have like your project, right? It's called the remote repository. It is stored on GitHub. It's stored somewhere in the cloud, like you would store, for example, in Google Drive or Dropbox and so on, but it's stored on GitHub. And when you start working on it, you copy it to your own computer. It's stored on your own computer, and it's called a local repository. So it's a copy of the same thing that is stored on GitHub, but beside being just a copy, it also has a connection to this remote repository, which allows you to synchronize with it, either push changes to it or pull changes from it. Do you understand the difference between remote repository and local repository? Yeah? Sure. No, I mean, no, it's completely fine to ask questions. There are no stupid questions. Please feel free like to use this space to ask your questions. This is your chance to understand things. Don't worry if you think that your question is silly, it's not. Okay, so we have local repository and remote repository. And every developer that copies the repository to his computer has his own copy of local repository. So there can be like a million of local repositories each on each computer, but there's only one remote repository. That's like the central hub. This is the source of truth. This is where your code is stored. In our case, it will be stored on GitHub. GitHub is what allows us to store our remote repositories in GitHub on their servers. So what happens when you work on your local repository? You make a change. For example, you change a button color, right? And you commit it. So you say that, okay, I want this change to be available in the remote repository. And when you commit, this is a keyword that is important to remember, committing. When you commit a change, you can always add a comment on what this commit does. So for example, add change 1, but in real life, it could be change button color to red. Same goes, you do another commit, you say, okay, now make the padding bigger. And in here, add on-click handler for this button that opens another screen when user clicks it, so on. But now we have 3 changes, 3 commits, each with their own comments. They're committed, they're separate, they all have their own identifiers, but they're still currently locally. In order to make those commits available in remote repository, we need to push them. It's also a Git command. So there's a command called git commit, which makes those changes, legal changes with messages. And then there is a command called git push, which pushes all of those commits from your local repository, from your computer to GitHub. to the GitHub servers wherever they store your repository. Don't be scared if this is a bit confusing. We will be doing committing and pushing today and during the course, and you will get a hang of it. And you won't be scared of the university teachers who just tell you to pull and clone and not explain what it is. About those little changes, you might say like, if I still need to push in the end, why do I need to make small changes? Why can't I just make one big change? Say, add this button with this color, this padding, blah, 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 make this huge commit and push just one commit. Why do I need to make several? Well, then we can take a look, for example, at this. We have a history of commits. So one of the features of Git is that we have a history. You can always look at your commits like a book. Like, okay, this happened in this commit, this happened in this commit, this happened in this commit. So if you make small commits, small changes, and for example, each change is just 30 lines of code, and you understand that at some point a bug was introduced, you can run your app from different commits and see, okay, when I did this, there were no errors, no bugs. When I did change number 2, there were still no bugs. Okay, when I applied change number 3, this is where the bug happened. And I have only 30 lines of code to investigate which line of code is exactly the source of the bug. But if I push it all in one huge change, for example, 500 lines, and understand that the bug was introduced here, I now have 500 lines to investigate to find the bug. So that's why regular small commits are really preferred and important as opposed to one huge commit, just like YOLO, commit the whole code base. Then you good luck to finding out where exactly the source of bug is. Or for example, why, if you refactor a big chunk of code, a big chunk of logic, why this happened and what was before. Okay, any questions about small and big commits? Do you understand why is it important? Okay. Up to this point, we've been just pushing, right? So we created our changes and we pushed those changes to the remote repository. But what if some other developer did this, right? What if I, the developer number 2, want those changes that were on the user, on the developer 1's computer? Okay, so developer 1 pushed those changes, but they don't automatically appear on my computer. Also, it's a local computer. It may have not access to the internet. There's no way for it to automatically just reappear on my computer, right? There's no magic in computers, even if our parents think so. Usually there's some software behind it. And since there is a push functionality, there's also a pull functionality. This is why remote repository is like a central hub to which some users push and other users pull. And that's how you exchange changes. And for example, in here, we have just 2 users, but maybe 10 different users have pushed. And when I do pull as a user in here, I take all of those 10 user changes. I don't need to take a file from all of them, edit that one single file, and send it to other users. No, all stored in GitHub in our case. And through Git, it is pushed and pulled. But what happens if we have a remote repository and at the same time we edit the same file, dev1 and dev2, and we try to push it? There can be a lot of problems. For example, developer 2 overrides completely the changes of developer 1, and they both have added important features. Which feature is more important? How do I decide this? Or what if developer 1 just wrote some spaghetti code and developer 2 is like, no, we can't have this in our code base. I don't want this in the code base. What do we do with this? And what if even they change separate files, but changes in one file introduced bugs in the file of another developer without him even knowing, because he didn't even see this code? So there can be many problems also, even with Git and GitHub and so on. So even if you just don't exchange files, there can still be problems. So the solution is branches. It's called branches. And initially, like the super source of truth is the main branch of the remote repository. It is also called master branch, but since a couple of years ago, decided that it was not the best name, so it is now renamed to main branch. So in some cases, in older projects, and even still in Git, you will see master branch, but you need to remember that master and main mean the same thing. Anyway, it's just a name. If you want to, you can make another branch, the most important branch in your repository, but for us, it will always be main and master. So Git introduces a new solution to this problem also, and it's called branches. So every time I want to start working on a feature, I make a branch and give it a name. For example, in this case, it's called feature dev1 branch. It's also stored remotely. And then I make a copy of this remote branch, not the whole thing, but the remote branch to my local computer. And I do my changes. I make 1 commit, 2 commits, 3 commits, 150 commits, and then I push them all, and they're all in this branch. The same goes for the second developer. He has his own branch, he pushes to his own branch. So we all work in our separate branches. They're still available in GitHub remotely, but they're not in the main branch. We still need to somehow share it with other developers, right? So now let's forget for a minute about developer 2. We need to understand how we make those changes in feature dev1 branch available in main branch. And there's one more functionality to do this. In general, you can forget for now for pull request, it is called merge. So there is a Git function, Git merge, that allows you to push all of the changes from branch feature dev1 to the main branch. The same way as we just pushed the main branch initially, but here's just an extra step that you do it not from locally, but from one branch to another branch. And in order to avoid all of those problems with someone disagreeing and someone breaking stuff and so on, we use a feature called pull request. And pull request is something that GitHub offers. It is a really bad name for this because a push request would be even better, or a merge request, as GitLab calls it, would be better, but GitHub calls it pull request, which shows you side by side the differences that will be merged into the main branch if you approve this pull request. And so you open this pull request, and the other developers can review it, give comments to the code, say that this won't work, and I disagree with this. And at some point, when you commit more changes and so on, and someone approves, you can merge it, and then everyone agrees with it, and it becomes go away, and it becomes available in the main branch. This may sound all super confusing right now. I understand this. That's why we will start working from practice. Okay, despite this being confusing, maybe you have some specific questions at the moment.
Через каждый разработчик работает на своем бранче.
Да.
А кто делает pull request?
Тот, кто работает над своей бранчем. Вот я, например, разработчик 1, я создала себе ветку dev1, я создала pull request. Я говорю остальным разработчикам, которые работают на этом проекте, что я хочу, чтобы мои вот эти изменения из бранча dev1 появились в main. Все ли согласны? И вот GitHub дает эту возможность нажать кнопочку «Да, я согласен», еще одному, например, «Да, я согласен», и когда согласна, я нажимаю кнопочку «Все, смержить это», и оно все появляется, ну, не у всех, а вот там вот в main branch, и все точно так же нужно пулить обратно, если ты работал, другой разработчик работал, а ты хочешь его изменения получить.
Получается, все должны запулить.
Это зависит уже, как вы договоритесь с командой. Кто-то, для кого-то YOLO, пушим все в мастер, вот это вот работает, типа, и нормально. А если ты один, в целом тоже, наверное, нормально, но для истории, например, pull request удобно смотреть, чтобы посмотреть, как постепенно разрабатывалось, вернуться к чему-то, может быть, посмотреть какие-то комментарии и так далее. А сейчас визуально без того, как выглядит pull request, непонятно, что это, но мы это сегодня сейчас посмотрим все. Я думаю, что станет понятнее. Вот. Но суть в том, что Git — это просто софт, а GitHub — это непосредственно обертка над ним, которая дает тебе визуальную репрезентацию, плюс сервера, на которых вообще все это хранится, хостится и так далее. И хорошая практика, как мы с вами будем делать, и как мы это делаем в Чили, это работа через, как это называется, фичер-ветки, фичер-бранчи. потому что таким образом ты не мешаешь ничьей работе. И ты работаешь в своей ветке, и не бывает такого, что разработчик 1 закоммитил main одну вещь, разработчик 2 вторую, разработчик 1 думал, что там будет это, а там оказалось другое, и получилось какая-то перепердак. Вот. Что работаем через фичер ветки, посмотрим, как это делать.
I have a question.
Yes.
If there's 2 branches, both do basically same change fonts, like do some different changes, like one font says 12 seconds or 30. So probably decide basically breaks in Jira.
This is depends on the ticket, but this case that you have described is called merge conflicts. So, for example, if something in the main can be just merged like this to the feature branch because it has changes that are like completely different, you have to also in software, we will also see how this works. You have to explicitly accept, okay, I want 13 or 12, and how to decide it, yes, depends on the task, which one was more relevant, because if I made changes that it's 12 a week ago and you made 13 today, probably your one is the correct one, but it depends on the task. Okay. Does everyone have Git installed? Like just Git, not GitHub, but Git. You can check it by calling Git status. Or not. No, okay, it's not here, not here. Just Git. Is it working? It should be working. Yes. Or a version. Yes, version. Spoiler, I usually use Git only from Android Studio. For me, it's faster than switching to terminal. But if you prefer terminal, you can use terminal. But I will show both ways. All right. So Git version works for everyone, right? Okay. So we will be working with my first app. We will continue working with it for now. But we have it locally, right? We now need to create it also somewhere remotely, in our case, in GitHub. So let's open GitHub. Is everyone logged into GitHub and has an account on GitHub?
Yes.
Okay, great. Then please open GitHub. And you can we probably have this button like new. And so you should go to this page called create a repository. Oh, we will discuss this right now. No, that's default. We will make it private for now. You can always change this. You can make public repositories. Yeah, if you click back. So for now, don't just leave it. We will be filling in information. So several things that we need to do. First, give it a repository name. Let's call it the same way like we called our app. So we call it my first app. You can also do like technically this from terminal, but GitHub gives you like this opportunity to do this for UI, and it's much easier this way than adding a bunch of parameters. Okay, don't need any description for now. Also in here, now we don't need to add any README, no git ignore, and no choosing a license. None should be as default unselected. As I said, there are many ways to create repositories. There are many ways to write apps with Android Studio, VS Code, and so on. I'm showing you my way, but if you find a way that is more comfortable for you, you can also use that. This is one of them. This way always gives me the less possible problems without adding README, without adding git ignore and license. I prefer to add it later on through code. So we click create repository. Does it work? Okay. And GitHub is nice because it also gives us all of the instructions already just like that, and we will repeat them. Don't just paste everything. We will go line by line. Now, in your terminal on your device, make sure, come on, why are you not showing up? Thank you. Make sure that you are located inside of your My First App folder. Actually, you can see it. Okay, anyway, how does this file on Windows work?
Sorry?
LS on Windows. So this files.
Yeah.
You the project, okay, now you inside this to the project.
The easiest way to open the same place like you now in folder and then that like pass just that CMD.
Okay, you can show.
Oh, I do. No, this is like just like that's it.
Thank you very much. Teamwork. All right, so you are your first Flutter app. Okay, remember this name. You are all located in your repositories, right? In your folders on in terminal, right? Okay, so what we have did right now in GitHub, we have created a remote repository. Now we need to make sure that our local folder, for now it's just a folder, it knows nothing about Git, it's not a Git repository, it's just an Android Studio project. We need to make it a Git repository. So we do this by just writing Git in it, like this. And we press enter, and you can see that using master as a name for the initial branch, this default branch, blah, 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 is subject to change. And basically, what it says is initialized empty Git repository in blah, blah, blah in my path. And it has added a small Git file with description unvisible that makes it a Git repository. As I said, we will be working with main branch, not with master. I have no idea why. Maybe I have an old version of Git installed on my computer. That's also maybe it. I'm not sure, but it would be better if the default name would be main. So is it master for you, for all of you? Or is it main?
Я вообще ничего не писал. Я написал, что гид, на все, но вот это гид, мастер, просто типа, ну как
Потому что у меня, да, он установлен этот. У моей задачи я забыла, что он у меня установлен. Вот. Git статус. Напишите. Мастер, правильно? Угу. У всех написано, вот если написали Git статус и проскорили наверх, он в раньше мастер. Угу.
Да, branch master.
Окей, тогда нам нужно, we need to rename to the main branch. Also, this is done one time. Also, if you can see it here, I'll just git, what was branch? Git branch, M. Just press it, and then to be sure that it worked, you need to do git status. Okay, on branch main it said,
Yes.
right? Okay, see, so Git is basically for now, it's just a CLI tool that you can use in terminal or in command window. So it allows you to do stuff like this, just like we did with Flutter, Flutter Doctor, Flutter Create, the same way it does with Git. And now what we have done so far, we have said via Git that this local file is now a Git repository. And we have also created one on GitHub. And now we need to connect them to make sure that what is locally is also remotely. So, okay. I'm thinking about the best way to explain this. Okay, so when we wrote git status, we have seen on branch main, no commits yet, and on tracked files. And it says do this and this. And we have a bunch of files. We have all of the files that we have created inside of our folder. They are all in red. It means that now if I try to commit something, don't forget commit. What was the comment? Git commit M. Told you I don't use terminal. Yeah, it says nothing added to commit, but untracked files present. So first, before we can commit anything, we actually need to tell what to commit. And because we want to commit everything, there is a shortcut for that. We can say git add and a dot. And basically what this does, it says git add everything that is untracked. And then when you enter git add, again, git status, and you will see in green a lot of files, right? Okay, now that we have added all of those changes that we want to commit, now we want to commit. For the first time, like the very first time when you initialize a repository, it is okay to commit everything. It's even called the initial commit. But after that, we will be working change by change. So let's commit everything and say git commit with a parameter called M, it's a message. And in quotes, say initial commit. In quotes, you can write any text that you want, just a commit message. Okay, and if we press it, and it should give us also a lot of text, and say that initial commit, so many files change, so many insertions, and if there were deletions, then also go to
Please tell me who you are. Почту вести
вот.
твой аккаунт.
Он дает команды, вот git config, сделайте их тоже. Он просто вот скопирует команду git config, бла-бла-бла. Он не знает, к какому GitHub аккаунту приконнектиться. У всех такая же ошибка. У тебя все нормально. Ты пользовался гитом до этого. You, everything okay. Also, git.
Повести туда твой.
Да, такой же, как на этом самом GitHub. Да. Это дело, да? Да, и теперь можно просто заработано. Видела? Приводишь? А? Но это мы все закоммитили, и пока что это все еще локально, и мы все еще ничего вообще не сказали гиту, а куда это все пушить. И если мы попробуем сделать... Ладно, попробуем. Пум-пум-пум. Он мне говорит, что Fatal Origin это походу не репозиторий. Russian, English. It says, sorry, it's not a repository, so I could not read from it. Make sure that you have access, right? Or that this repository exists. Seven here. Basically, it does not know where am I trying to push. So first time when we create our local Git repository, we need to run this command. And for you need to go to your GitHub because you need to copy the link. It says it should be something like github.com, your username / the name of your app.git. Yes, repositories. Yes, absolutely. And then, yes. So just this, and we will write the context. So just copy this. Okay. Well, so basically, or you can copy either here from here, just the link, or in here where it says or create a new repository on the command line. You can select this command called git remote at origin and your URL. Just copy it. And then paste it in your terminal. And basically what this will do is it will tell you that the remote repository, the source of truth, the holy grail and so on of this repository, now it's hosted and connected to that one on GitHub. And we give it a link just so that it understands where it is. We can again change if anything changed with Git status. Now it tells us that on branch main, nothing to commit, working triply. This is the same for everyone? Yes.
Хочу повторять, скажи, вы как и пройти. Именно.
Проверить, что все получилось. So after you have seen this, we have one last thing left to do, is we actually now need to push those changes. Remember, we have committed them, and now we need to push them. So for this, we have git push origin main. We click it, we see some information. Origin, not name, but it's called main. You need to read main. Origin. No, main. Yes, main is the branch name. But це така ж проблема, я так понимаю, какую идти. Да? Да. Да, такая же.
Эмоционально как есть? Через англицизм?
Да, просто там, наверное, нет, один Git push, да, сюда. Можешь ответить тоже, что ты сказать? Вот это именно это. Это на какой у тебя команде фейлите? На Git?
И пушок.
Угу. Ну, настраивайте страшно. Окей. Ты вводил пароль, правильно? Угу. Знаешь, что попробую сделать? Так. Сейчас. Сейчас я найду эту ссылку. On in the left side, click developer settings. Потому что не слепая, тут нет developer settings. Слепая. Так, смотрите, что попробуем. Зайдите вот в правом верхнем углу. нажать на settings. Нет, у тебя по-моему, все нормально. Здесь проскролить самый вниз, и тут будет developer settings слева. Нажать их. Все, получилось туда дойти, да? Тогда слева Personal Access Tokens раскрыть и нажать Tokens Classic. И здесь, сейчас я уточню, что это то, что я думаю. Вот. Да, возвращаясь тут, нажимаем Generate New Token и выбираем New Token Classic в General Use. И вводим Wi-Fi. Здесь expiration выбираем no expiration. Токен всегда можно револкнуть, если что-то, это не проблема, в отличие от пароля. No expiration. И я здесь кликаю просто вообще все галочки. Когда все прокликали, можно наверху еще в ноуте написать, для чего это токен. Просто Git. Вы напишите просто Git, я просто удалю все этот токен, потому что мне он не нужен. Я поняла, что это значит. И потом generate токен. Тут, внимание, этот токен видится только один раз, поэтому обязательно нажмите сейчас скопировать. Потому что если вы обновите страницу, вы больше его не увидите. Так и написано. И теперь, возвращаясь в терминал, делайте то же, что делали, только вместо пароля запейстите этот токен. Do you also have this problem?
No.
No? All good for you?
Yep.
And you managed to push everything and then it works. Okay, good. Тогда сейчас. So, теперь обновить. Теперь, if you refresh your project page on GitHub, you should see all of your code. Okay, cool. This works for everyone. Awesome. Now let's try to do more commits, branches, and pull requests. So now we need to open back our Android Studio with the same project. My first app. Yes, everyone there? Okay, so that my first app. Теперь куча проектов. Okay, and online in main.dart, online 31. Now you don't need to understand deeply what this does because we will be doing it all from scratch. We just want to practice for the sake of commits. So on line 31, right? You see color scheme, blah, 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 right? Okay, and now let's change it from deep purple to, is it? No, blue? Yes, let's change it to blue. One. Also, if you want to see those changes really fast, you can see at the top there's this like lightning icon called Flutter Load. And you can press it and you should see it's now become blue. That. If it's not launched for you, then launch it and you show it. For now, it may seem like, oh my god, so many comments, what order, what blah blah blah. This is all right. We will get used to it. First time is the most scary time. It works for everyone. It's blue for everyone. Okay, so if it's blue for everyone, now Android Studio offers like Git is already installed into Android Studio, and you can see that my main Dart and your main Dart, if you remove like click from it, it's now blue, right? The color of this file name is blue. It's blue, right? So this means that this file is already known to GitHub, but there has been changes in this file. So locally, it differs from what is currently stored remotely. For example, if we create, you don't do this, just watch. If you create a new file, new Dart file, you can see that it's red initially. Yeah, this one. How do I make it bigger? So basically, you can see that it's red where my cursor is. Yes, this means that this file does not exist in a Git remote repository, but also it's not staged for commit. So if I try to commit something now, this file won't go there. And if I want to make sure that I commit it, I need to, for example, the Android Studio, there's no need to remember it right now, we will go through it, but just the idea that if I added, remember the git add dot, it now becomes green. And now it means that this is a new file in this repository that does not exist on GitHub. So blue means that the file already exists, but there are changes. Green means that this file is completely new, and if I commit now, it will also go there. And if it's red, it means that this file is new, but it's not going to be committed. So now you can also do in the lib folder, create new Dart file. Just call it new. It can be empty, but just for the sake of example. And Android Studio is probably going to ask you, do you want to add this file to track this file, blah, blah, blah. And you can say no for now, for example, or yes. Because if you selected yes, then it will be green. If you selected no, but you want to add it later, you can go here, right click on new. You can also, even if you already selected yes, you can still click it through and see it. Here you will see a lot of options, and at the bottom you will see Git. And at the top you will see plus add, and this will add this file to a stage for commits. Now there are also a lot of options here. You don't need to worry about them for now. Okay, but this is just staged for commit. Staged for commit means that it's ready to be committed. It means that it knows the differences, it sees the differences, but they're not committed yet because I can add 150 more files and they'll all be staged for commit. Now, next step for us is to commit it. So we go to this on the left, commit, and you should see a list of files. Yes, yes. Oh, okay, see, yes, if you haven't added, I'll show you. Now, if you create file, you don't copy this. And I don't stage it for commit. I see now blue, red, green. And I go to the commit tab. I will see that I have one conversion file. See? So that's why green goes to the changes, but red goes to the conversion file. Okay, I'll remove the for now. Okay, so now in here, in your commit tab, select all your files. And you can also select conversion files. Oh, wait. Oh, it's just a file, not that, but okay. This, and you can see that at the bottom, you have this commit message, and you can write a commit message. For example, add example changes. This is free form text. You can write whatever you want, but usually it's a good idea to keep it meaningful. Okay. Looks very well. Okay. And now we have two options here at the bottom. One says just commit, and the other says commit and push. So let's now try commit and push, and then I will try commit and see how we can push after. So let's press commit and push. And this is what you will see. You will see that where you want to push. You want to push from your local main to the origin main. Here's the commit message. It's called add example changes. And on the right, you can see the actual files that you're going to be adding or editing. And now we can press last button push. And you should see here at the bottom right corner, it says pushed one commit to origin main. This all right for everyone?
Где предлагают логин.
Okay, yes.
И use token. И просто
Вот
логин.
тот токен.
Или можешь через
Я предпочитаю использовать токен, потому что он потом туда не будет просить логиниться больше. Не просил? Ну, окей, можно так. У меня токен, по-моему, прописан там в моей Android студии. Тут можно через GitHub работать. Иди сюда. Нет, так это не получится. Нет, давай все нормально. Settings. Внизу. Токен можно видеть. Теперь слева. Самый низ склон. Слева склон. То есть это самое. Вон developer settings слева. Теперь слева personal access tokens. Раскрыть и tokens classic. Теперь generate new token справа. Выше. Да. Generate new token classic. А можно написать в Android Studio. Любой тут свободный текст. Expiration поставить never. Да, ну так намного проще, чем он будет производить. No expiration. Вот. Потому что ты, если что-то не так с этим токеном, ты можешь просто вот здесь не лопнуть, и оно все перестанет работать, так что это не проблема. Дальше поставить галочки по всем вот. Да. Сейчас в один момент и скопировать его. Ты его больше не увидишь. Ну, может, если можно записать, я бы записывала, что просто новое приложение. Да. Может, one commit origin main. Супер. У всех все заработало?
Да.
Yeah.
just look.
Okay. It works, right?
Should work like this.
Yeah, all files are done.
Yeah.
You can check it by going to GitHub. To your repository. Show you also. Refresh it. First of all, you can see that now in lib it says add example changes instead of initial commit. And if you go inside, you will see that there's new.dark and the main. If you open it, you will also see that the color is blue. Is this right for everyone?
Mhm.
Well, is this right for you? Or do you
Yeah,
have?
one sec.
Okay.
Sorry.
We will do this several times.
Yeah, sure. Should be fine. Yeah.
Okay, great. So now let's do one more commit and then we will go to branches and pull requests. Okay, now do the same thing, change to some other color. Instead of blue, change whatever you want. Say green. And then we can also go to our commit on commit button on the left. You will see that we have changes in one file. Right, so this is correct for everyone. We can change the commit message to change color to, for me, it's green, for you, it's whatever your color is. And then if you press commit and push, we again see this window. And we can press push. And we should see that first one commits originally, right? Well, we're doing this several times just so that it becomes more like muscle memory, so it's not that scary in the future. And if you refresh it on your GitHub repository, you will see that it also should have been changed. Is this correct for everyone? Okay, now let's do this one more time, but this time we will press just commit and not commit and push. So change color to yet another one. Go to the commit on the left. Select the files that you want to commit and also change the comment from change color to green to change color to whatever you choose. Now let's just press commit. And what happens? We see that at the bottom it says one file committed and the commit name change color to yellow. If we go back to the project, we see that there's no changes, right? Nothing. Files are gray. But if we go back to our GitHub repository, we won't see this change, right? It still is the same color as it was previously. That works.
Последняя команда
Не обновилась, да. Все не должно было. Если обновилось, значит, что-то не так сделали. Так что just commit. Before we go to push, I just want to show it to you. Let's do another commit. This time we change color from yellow to, for example, pink. We go to our commit. We now change color to pink. And also make sure that we commit it. And just press commit. We can see that one file committed, change color to pink. And there is nothing in here again. I'll just refresh it just to be sure. It's still green. But now, if I go to Android Studio, at the very top, I can see different kind of commands and I can see Git. right? And if you click it, you see commit, push, blah, blah, blah. So if you have committed several things but haven't pushed it, you can push it all at once from here. So you select push, and you see the familiar window. And the thing is that now you can see both of your commits that you haven't pushed, right? So change color to yellow and then change color to pink. So during your work, you may make like a lot of commits, but without pushing them. And then at some point you push them. So that's why those comments are different. Now, if you press push, you can see that push to commits to origin main. And if we update it now, then we will see that it is quite big. Okay, any questions at this point? Any help, any doubts, anything? Just let me know.
Ну, тут есть просто на последний, то есть, типа, который мы до этого меняли, он бесполезный. Ну, как
Ну, он есть в истории.
Ну, да, он есть
Да.
в истории, но, типа...
Но в нашем случае он бесполезный, но если, например, в предыдущем коммите мы поменяли title на Flutter Demo New, а во втором коммите цвет, то они оба были бы полезны. Да?
ничего объяснить.
Да, ну то есть один на другой.
Другой флаг, да.
Да. Все точно так же, как мы сделали тут. Сначала мы поменяли цвет на желтый, он точно так же, если мы перейдем, например, code. We have one branch up to this point, and here it's only main. Click it, and it will open me. Okay, that's not what I wanted to see. Yeah, here on the right, I can see that there's 5 commits. And I can see all of my commit history. Initial commit, add example changes, change color to green, change color to yellow, change color to pink. And this is how they apply to each other. So we had initial commit. This is how our code looked like. Then we added example changes and code updated to those example changes. Then we changed the color to green, the color changed to green. Then we changed to yellow, and then to pink and to pink. In GitHub, you will see how the code base looks from the latest commits. Change color to pink, right? And if you, for example, click on change color to yellow, you can see what happens in this commit. This helps. Like for now, we did just baby changes. We just changed the color. But in real life, you will be adding features. You will be adding different changes, and sometimes it is really helpful to understand in which specific commit this happened, why it happened, what was there before this commit, what changes applied, and so on. So you have the whole history. For example, if each of these commits were 500 lines, and I want to go back to the way my code base looked when it was changed color to green, in code, I can just go to this commit, check out the code base, and say that revert everything up to this point. And you can just like go back in time and use that. Or you can pick just separate files to which you want to return. So as you grow more experienced, you will get more advanced with Git, and you can do all kinds of things to understand what happened when. Okay, up to this point, we have pushed to master branch, to main branch. And as I said, this is not the best way to work. I mean, when you're working alone, maybe. But in general, if you have everything in a feature branch, you have more freedom because you can break anything in this feature branch, but be sure that in your main branch, you have like safe code that is not broken, and you can always just check out from the main branch and your code will work as expected. So feature branches let you experiment more safely without having to roll back changes. Okay, now let's try and do this. We can try and do this from Android Studio because we will be doing this from Android Studio. And in the bottom right corner, you can see main. Right? This is the same for you, like real bottom right corner. It's a little icon, like a branch, and it says main. It's a кнопочка. At home, you can try, and probably give you as homework to try also do it from terminal. It helps to just get this little experience. Most of the time, I even do it. I always always from Android Studio, but still helps to understand how to do it in terminal, what happens under the hood. But for now, we need to focus to actually work with it, because you can always go deep and deep and deep into the details and so on. It never helps as a beginner. It's just overwhelming. So we need to first learn how to use it, and then we can learn more deeply why it works that way. Okay, so find it here, right? Main. If you click it, you can see that, first of all, you can see branches. It says local branches, main, and remote branches, array and main. We can now create a new branch. Click on this button, new branch. And let's call it feature color. And the checkbox, checkout branch, should be clicked. And we will then see what happens if we don't click it. And we press create. What will happen now is we create this branch called feature color, and Android Studio will switch us to this branch. So if you look now at the same place where you see main at the bottom right corner, you should see the name of your branch. It's called feature color, right? Okay, and if you click it, you will now see that there's local branches, feature color, and main, and remote branches, which is only origin main. So the same way as we did with commits, we also need to push the branch. So it's always goes this way. Any changes that you do locally, you need to push them. Any changes that you want to get from remote, if you don't have them, you need to pull them. Push, pull, push, pull. Okay, for now, let's do one more change in our same line. Change it to some other color that you want. I'll make it orange. We are doing only this simple change because for now the focus is to learn to work with Git and GitHub and not code. So that's why it's always simple and easy. And we go again to our commits tab. We again select our file and we change the commit message to change color to orange. Okay, and now we press commit and push. And now look at the top, you can see that we push from feature color, local branch, to origin feature color. And there's also this little word called new. It means that this branch at this point is unknown to the remote repository. And when we push it, it will always also be created on the remote repository. Okay, so we now press push. And it says pushed feature color to new branch, origin feature color. So now remote repository knows about this branch. And if we go to our GitHub, we refresh it, we will see several things. First of all, GitHub itself says that feature color has recent pushes less than a minute ago, and it gives you a button called compare and pull request. For now, forget it. And we will return to it in a second. But you can also see here that in lib, like where we changed the color from pink to orange, it's still pink. Nothing changed, right? Do you know why it's that? Who wants to answer? It's a yes. Yes, it's in a different branch, it's not merged. So, and if we go also to the top, we can see that now we have two branches. And if we click them, you will see that the default branch is main, and your branches and also active branches, we have another one, a new one called feature color. Now, if we press it, we see our code base from the perspective of this branch. And if we now go to the lib and to the main.dart, we will see that the color is indeed orange. Any help? All right. Мы сейчас находимся на main. Тут мы можем здесь Default menu command. И новые всякие. Вот. Ну, не всякие, у нас одна фича, нажимаем ее. И вот мы находимся здесь. И теперь ты можешь смотреть, что ты зайдешь в лист. Да. Everyone else? All right. So работает? So yeah, this way we can create many branches and work in our own branches, and main branch will be untouched and no problems will be there. But at some point, I don't want always to develop in parallel with the main branch. What's the point? I want to merge it back to main branch, right? And this is what pull requests are for. A better name would be a merge request. In GitLab, which is not GitHub, it's a different application. They're actually called merge requests. But GitHub, for whatever reason, called them pull requests. It's a bad name. So you can imagine every time you hear and see pull request, it means a merge request. So we request to merge something. Okay, so here at the top, we can see code, issues, blah, blah, blah. And we see this little button, pull request. And if we click it, yes, pull request. And here we can see that welcome to pull request. Pull requests help you to collaborate and code with other people. As pull requests are created, they'll appear here in searchable and filterable list. And we also see this notification that feature color has recent pushes 3 minutes ago. It shows here because it was really recently, but for example, you have created a branch 2 weeks ago, it won't be showing up here. So for now you can ignore it, but this button will always be visible, called new pull request. So let's press new pull request. And now we need to compare changes. We want to understand what are we merging where. So the important thing is here, like this gray thing. We need to select base, but base is main for now. For us, it's main. We want to merge the code to the main branch. And now we need to understand where do we want to merge it from. And we want to merge it from feature color, right? So we select feature color. Yes, okay, cool. And now you can see that you have one commit, one file changed, and one contributor. And if you scroll, you can see like this div on GitHub. What this potential pull request will introduce. It will show you that it was color scheme pink, and now it's color scheme orange. Goodness. And now if we are okay with everything, we need to press the final button, create pull request. And now we see this editing window. First of all, we have the name of the pull request. We can say that change color from pink to orange. You can leave comments, you can leave images, and so on and so forth. For now, because it's just example, there's no need of that. But I will give you article later on that I wrote about good practices related to pull requests, but it will be for future. Okay, so now what we need to do is we have wrote description, we have given it a name, blah, blah, blah. And now we need to press create pull request. And for now, it says that this branch has no conflict with the base branch. We will probably address conflicts in some later on lesson. For now, it's not that important. But basically, if we go back to pull request, you can see that now we have one new pull request. It is set change color from pink to orange. It is opened now by me. And if we go here, we can see that Daria Lova wants to merge one commit into main from feature color. And the files that have been changed. For me, it's only one file. And we will get to reviewing pull request in a second, but now if we go back to pull request, if we select pull request, what happens? There is this big green button says merge pull request. And let's imagine that I gave you code review and I said, good, you can merge it. Then you can merge pull request. It says, are you sure you want to merge it? And I will say, yes, confirm merge. And now it says Daria allow merge commit, blah, blah, blah into main now. It also changed the color from green to purple, and it says that it is merged. And if I now from pink to orange, right? So now if I go to code, see that main is selected. My commit says change color to orange 7 minutes ago. And oops, here, if I go to lib and to main, I will see that the color is orange, right? We will open several pull requests right now. But before we do that, we have one last thing. If we go back to our Android Studio, and here at the bottom right corner, set a feature color, we will select back main. So we want to switch from feature color to main. So we select main and press checkout. Did this work for everyone? Yes, okay. Okay. Now you can see that if you go to line 31, it's pink, but we have changed it to orange, right? It should be the previous color. It's pink for you, okay, or whatever it was. So now the last thing that's left to do is we on our computer still have the old main version. We need to somehow ask remote repository to give us the latest updates. And this is the opposite operation that we were doing. We were doing push, and now we need to do pull. So let me go to, again, here, Git. There's how always. We can say update project. And says merge incoming changes into the current branch. Say OK. And now we should see that one file updated into commits. And see that the color has changed to orange. That's true? Very well. Okay. I know it might be confusing because we have done a lot of operations, but we will do them a couple of more times again. Any questions about this right now? All right. Okay.
Yeah.
Also take fruits, buses to get some butter. If everyone's ready, we can start. Okay, so let's do the pull request thing one more time. So no. So we go back to our Android Studio. Up to this point, what we have done, we have created a new branch called feature color. We have changed color, pushed it, opened up pull requests to the main branch, merged it to the main branch, and pulled it back to the main branch in our local repository. Let's do this one more time. So we are on main branch. Let's click it and click new branch. That's called feature new color. So original. And then we press create. And let's change the color one more time. We'll be doing this a lot until we start with Flutter. I'll change it to purple. And let's, for example, to spice it up, just add a new file, one more new file. Let's call it Dart. Let's call it Dart1. And we want to add it to GitHub. Just a new file on the same lib folder. You can call it anything you want. Just call it Dart1. Okay, is this okay for everyone? All right. So we go back to our commit. We select all files. And let's say change color to purple and add file. And we press commit and push. Okay, and we can see that push feature new color to new branch origin feature new color. We go back to GitHub. We can refresh it and see that now we have 3 branches in here. We can click and see them. We have default branch as main. And your branches feature new color and feature color. The reason why there's your branches and active branches is that with time, for example, I don't know how old, but probably a couple of months, if you have a branch and it's not updated, it is removed from active branches and it is moved to like a stale branch. I think it's called stale branches, yes. And the same way, some of your branches can be active, but also other full branches can be active. So that's why their categories, for now, they're the same for us. You can also see some information here that from feature color, we had a 1 pull request and it is merged. But from feature new color, we have 1 commit ahead of main, and we can create a new pull request. There are many places from which you can create pull requests, but let us remember one path, and then you can explore other ones. We go to the pull request tab. We press the green new pull request button. We now need to select the base. Base is main, the same way as it was. And for compare, we need to select our new branch called feature new color. And now we can see changes. We can see the change color to purple and add file. We can see that we have 1 empty file added from each Dart1.dart, and there's also 1 line change from orange to purple. So we create pull request. Just for the sake of demonstration, I'll rename it to add new code, add file. You can call it whatever you want. And we can now create a pull request. And if we click again to our pull request, we can see that there is an add new code and file pull request. And for now, let's not merge it. Let's just leave it as is. And go back to Android Studio. And let's again check out a new from our feature new color to main branch. And let's imagine for a second that we don't want to merge it. This pull request does not exist yet, and we want to create another branch and another feature. So again, we go to main, new branch. We call it feature another color. And here our color is still orange. So let's change it for from orange to, I don't know, let's change it to red, for example. Now we go again to commit. Select the file. Change the commit message from change color to purple to change color to red. And press commit and push. All right, all good so far, everyone? If you need help, please don't be shy. Yes. Okay, so how many pull requests do you have so far? Two. Okay. Let me quickly open also another one. Okay, so what I want you to do now is to add me as a reviewer to these pull requests. For that, you can also do this because it can be done at GitHub. You go to settings. So I'll go to settings. Collaborators on the left. And where it says add people, you need to type my GitHub nickname, which is Daria Orlova. I will post it in chat. Okay. Did it work? Did you find me? Okay, and then you need to select me I'll add my other account. I'll add just for the sake of demonstration, but you should add the Daria Arlova one, the one that I sent in chat, and you should see Daria Arlova there, right? Okay, I'll just quickly. Okay, I see that. Let me set invitations and I will. Okay, and now when you go to your pull request for both of them, in here in reviewers on the right, you should type or choose a user and write my name here. Okay, well, I can't do this because I'm from my account, but you should see. Okay, on the right, in here, on the right, reviewers. Pull request, выбери pull request, выбери pull request. Ну, на каждый pull request нужно своих ревьюеров добавлять. Так получилось мне добавить? Да. Вот, видно все. Да. Супер. Вот, сейчас я на примере кого-нибудь запрыгну pull request, чтобы вы понимали, как это выглядит, а потом всем остальным. Тут, наверное, мне кажется, все должны быть конфликта, нет? Ну ладно, хорошо. Так, вот тут, например, вот мой этот самый, я как ревьюер, I'm like a reviewer, and I can go and see the files. I see that, okay, the color has been changed to purple, added new file, okay, and then there's this button, review changes. And for example, okay, let's say, can you please change this to green? Okay, and I say start a review. And so I will say I want to request changes because I think it should be green. And I say request changes. And now you can see that it says changes requested, one change requested. So now when you see this comment, you go and fix, change this color to green, and you push the new commit with the change color. Okay. And I can see that you have changed and say, okay, great. Then I can resolve this conversation. And from now I can, let's say, approve. Say that everything is okay. You can see the changes approved. You have one approval by me. And now you can write the pull request. And this way we will work with homework that will be related to code. I will give you reviews. I will request changes. And when I approve, then you can merge it. And this is how we will learn via code review, via feedback, and so on. Okay, any questions so far about pull requests? No? Okay. По-моему, можно. По-моему, там даже email нужно. Choose your GitHub nicknames wisely. My old one used to be I got married and I changed my last name. So changing to the new nickname, this was like really hard because it's really common. Okay, so now we will do this all one more time. We will create a new repository. We will push it to Git. We will commit the initial file because from next lesson, we will be learning Dart and we will have already a ready repository in which we can work and which we can do tasks. Okay, so now go back to your terminal. go back to your Android Studio projects file, file folder. Like this, you should see Android Studio project as the folder in which you are located in your terminal. Right? Is this correct for everyone? Okay, just let me know when you're done. Да. Сюда, чтобы перейти и путь вставить. Путь до папки Android Studio Projects. Найди в файловой системе папку Android Studio Project. Valdis, can you copy, please?
Привет.
Yes.
Сюда.
Let's see.
Doesn't work.
No. Okay, I'm going to. If you just write, just send that. Open. Then already made.
Okay, everyone's at the correct place. Okay, I'll just go to Flutter Academy because that's where I have my project. You don't need to do anything back here. You stay in Android Studio projects. Okay, before this, we did Flutter create and we have created Flutter projects. So because we first need to learn Dart, we will now create our first Dart project. And let's use the command called Dart create, same way as Flutter, just Dart create, and call it learning Dart. Learning Dart will be the name of this repository, right? And I press enter, and I should see some information about Dart, right? Same for everyone. Нет, не получилось? Okay, so now open this project from Android Studio. Все хорошо? Okay, open it. Open it in Android Studio. We'll quickly just review two things. First, you need the lib folder, and it has learning Dart file. If you have this blue thing that says Dart support is not enabled for the module learning Dart, does anyone also have this?
No, I need to download this DK.
Okay, yes, this can also happen. So please download it. It's fine. We don't need it for today.
No.
If you haven't, then just press enable Dart SDK.
Oh.
Oh, download. Yes, download it. Wait. If you wait, you know what? Dart should be shipped with Flutter, and I believe it can be installed. Сейчас, подождите секундочку. Can you try downloading the actual plugin? So do this. Press the double shift. Look for preferences. Like you can write preferences like this. Open them and find plugins on the left. You should see something like this. It's the same for everyone. And if you search for Dart,
It's installed.
it's
Yes,
installed. Oh,
okay.
it works. Okay.
I guess you need to.
Yeah, I guess that, yes.
add path.
Hmm?
Maybe you need to add the path.
You know, it's weird because Flutter project has run, and usually if Dart path is not written for it, it tells you in the Flutter project to enable to tell where the Dart is located. And since the Flutter app has run, so it is weird because Dart is definitely installed with Flutter. Let's see. Maybe it's true. Maybe we need to enable Dart for the specify Dart part for the just Dart project. So yeah, I need to remember where that was. Just a second. If anyone has already figured it out, you can let me know. Okay, path to Dart source. Okay, let's do this. First, add config. You see this button called add configuration? Press it. Everyone pressed it? Everyone's yes, okay, then on the left, add new. And here select Dart command line app. You don't see it, right? You don't.
Okay.
Okay, you did it. Yeah, that's all good for you. Okay. 13, sound good? Okay, perfect. Now you should see something like this. Let's call it the name. Here it's main. Or you know what? Let's just call it test for now, so that we don't confuse it with the main branch naming. Okay, and now it says error path to Dart source is not specified. And okay, first of all, it needs to select Dart file. So in here, Dart file, learning Dart, bin and learning Dart, like this. Yes, everyone found it? Say okay. Okay, this line went away, and if I say apply, and okay, does it still show you the install Dart SDK things?
Мне пишет error Dart SDK is not configured. Ну, по-другому.
Flutter is not development.
Да.
Flutter bin. Да, супер. Да, путь прописать. Он просто во Flutter он это подсвечивает сразу как путь, как, ну, да, окей. Okay, so now scroll. It's see the bits button. This. First of all, maybe we check. And then in the Dart SDK app, open it. Find where Flutter is installed. Reach Flutter. Get a bin and then
Нету source.
and then last thing is label it. They have a good culture. Super. For you, did you manage to?
Sure.
We will see, maybe we can fix this GitHub issue with Dart. Okay, so now let's do this super quickly. Go to GitHub. GitHub. Create a new repository. On the left, make it also private. And give it exactly the same name. Oh, sorry, I'm not streaming. No. Wait, this is not it. This. Never mind. So we were here just on the basic GitHub page, right? We press new. We have already seen this page. We make it private. We give it exactly the same name as local repository. Okay, called Learning Dart. Okay, for me it already exists, but you should call it the same way as it is for you. Okay, I'll just quickly delete it for now. Okay, so private, no checkbox is checked, none, and create repository, right? Okay, great. Now we go back to terminal. We are located in Learning Dart, in the local one, right? If you launched from here, I mean, it should be this way if you launch your studio from there. If not, then make sure that you're in your local Learning Dart repository in terminal. This is true for everyone? I'm losing your project. Все остальные на месте, да? Okay, then we do git init. Right, this worked for everyone. Then we do git, yes, git branch main. We are renaming master to main. Right, enter. Let's be sure to say git status. Okay, on branch main, no commits yet. Great. Now we need to track all of these files and say git add dot. Enter. Always check git status. Everything green, new file. Okay, now we need to commit everything. Git commit m. And let's say initial commit. Okay, this worked for everyone. Great, and now going back to GitHub, a couple of things. Need to copy this line, the one that says git remote add origin, and the link to your repository. Copy, paste, and enter. You can always check with git status. On branch main, nothing to commit, working strictly. Is this the same for everyone? Quentin, did this work for you? Did it ask for a login? No? Okay. And then the last thing, this one, git push, origin, main, like this. And works for everyone. Okay, and if we refresh it in here, we can see that learning Dart is here, right? Okay. I think that's it for today. Next lesson we will start with Dart. Tuesday we will figure out the thing. And I will, in an hour or so, I will send you homework. I will explain everything in chat, and there will be tickets on your boards in Jira, right? Okay. Any questions about what we did today? Any doubts? Anything you need help with? So just let's check what we had as goals. We said successfully run the default Flutter counter app. We did that. Set up and understand how to use Slack, Jira, Confluence, Tempo, GitHub, and Android Studio. We pretty much did that. Of course, there will still be some hiccups. We will figure them out along the way. Open first pull request on GitHub. Overview of how Flutter works. And we did not have time left, so we won't start learning that, but this is completely fine. This was the initial plan, so that will be on the next lesson. Okay, great. Thanks then, everyone.
Thank you.
Cool. And then we meet on Friday, 10 o'clock here, right?
Yeah.
For the okay. If you can't, lesson will be recorded. So, and I also when this finishes recording, I will send this in case you want to go scroll through and remember how we did something. And also I will write some text format of the overview of what we did and how it can help you with comments and everything. Okay. Thank you.